Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Seiben here for the Aether Hub, bringing you more Amonkhet spoilers. The second god on this desert world has been revealed, and it's the blue or bird god, Kefnet or Kefnet the Careful. Not really sure on how it's pronounced. 5/5 legendary creature god with flying and indestructible for 2 generic and a single island. For 3 generic and a single island, you draw a card, then you may return a land you control to its owner's hand. Of course, Kefnet being a god of Amonkhet, it can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more cards in your hand. So just like Hazoret, Kefnet continues the godly tradition of needing some kind of devotion-esque requirement to enable it to attack or block. As these two gods emphasize opposite spectrums of the color pie, Hazoret needs you to have a near empty hand, while Kefnet asks you to stack your hand to full. There isn't a better analogy for the playstyles of these colors than these two distinct gods. I wasn't initially impressed by Hazoret the Fervent, so what's my opinion of old birdie here? Well, right off the bat, I can say that I like the design of this card far more than Hazoret. Kefnet being a 5/5 flyer means it's gonna have a lot more opportunities to swing in for some very impressive damage, while Hazoret only has haste, which could be squandered if you don't dump your hand first. At 3 mana, this is a massive bomb to play early, although you probably won't be able to do much with it until your next turn. Assuming you hit all your lands, you can start using Kefnet the Careful's activated ability, draw a card and then returning a land. When I first thought about this card, I thought, geez, it's gonna be pretty hard to keep your hand full over the course of a game, even if you are playing blue control. But this ability, in my opinion, helps far more than the one found on Hazoret. Drawing a card for 4 mana is meh. Of course, card advantage is nice and it gets you closer to hitting that magical 7, but it's the ability to return a land that really pushes that along. While Hazoret only dumps 1 card at a time, dealing a meager 2 damage to the opponent's face, Kefnet puts 2 cards in the hand, making it much easier to hit 7 rather than going down to 1. Hazoret needs cards to be played in conjunction with it. Madness, discards, casting spells that you have. And while extra draw effects certainly aid Kefnet, they aren't 100% needed because he can get there himself. So yeah, I do prefer Kefnet the Careful over Hazoret the Fervent. Sure, the Jackal can be in some aggro and madness decks, but I just feel Kefnet fits more with the ideology of blue and control, and can actually make an appearance in any deck that just loves having a full hand. Now, that's not to say that I think Kefnet is like super amazing in its own right. Like Hazoret, I still think its devotion gate for attacking and blocking is really punishing for decks not tailored specifically around this card, and we don't really have those decks yet. For limited, Kefnet the Careful sees a similar problem. Without the assurance of supporting draw and stall spells, you may be using this card solely for its activated ability. Fortunately, a card draw engine that can sometimes swing in for 5 flying is way better than what you find in Hazoret. So overall, Kefnet the Careful is a super powerful creature stat-wise at an insane price that can really lay on the pressure quickly, but you're gonna want to play him in a strict control deck. If you're trying an Is It aggro deck, you won't have the time or hand to ever attack with Kefnet, and it kinda loses all of its potential. In limited, it's gonna be hard to attack or block with it since a full hand isn't always possible, but keeping it around as a card draw engine may make it useful enough. What I'm interested in seeing is if someone can jimmy up some kind of landfall deck using the activated ability to bounce lands to your hand so you can play them over and over. Probably a little out there, but that's kinda where my mind takes me. As has been the theme thus far, it seems the gods of Amonkhet kinda emulate those on Theros, matching their counterparts fairly similarly. Of course, the blue god on Theros is Thassa, god of the sea, and you can see immediately how these two cards compare. They have the same stats for the same price with Indestructible, a gated attack and block requirement, and an activated ability. To me, the Theros god wins out in this duel. Sure, it lacks flying, but its activated ability gives any creature unblockable. Not to mention it passively allows you to scry at the beginning of your upkeep. Strangely enough, Kefnet the Careful is far more blue than Thassa, playing a much more patient, grindy control game, while the Theros god kinda just wants to bash in. 2 different gods for 2 different playstyles, but I kinda prefer Thassa here. And that's all I really had to say about Kefnet the Careful, the blue god of Amonkhet. While I was initially unimpressed by Hazoret, this card's kinda pulled me back from despair in regards to these gods. It's not the most impressive spoiler I've ever seen, I certainly don't think it'll be amazing right out of the gate, but it makes me excited for what we'll see next. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about Kefnet the Careful in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the Aether Hub here on YouTube, just leave the video a like and subscribe for more awesome MTG content. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on the Aether Hub.